Okay, we are back. And we are back with a fresh new muddy cable. The last one finally broke. I mean, I stepped on it one time too much. I have this now in place. We're gonna start the board, see if A, we can improve the startup time, and B, if we're gonna get a proper warm start. So I cleared these faders. Let me just for good measure clear all of this as well and start up the board. You'll be live. I did this quite a few times already now. So just checking, yeah, this is off. We're doing this one, shoots up the faders, starts up, boots up. Next up, start this rack. You was hearing the Mac rebooting as well. This computer now starts automatically. Thank you. Was one guy in the YouTube comments helping me out. Went into the BIOS, fixed that, so no need to press the power button here. This is all booting. I'm still figuring out why the real-time PowerPC has to boot up after all the others. In the manual it says they're syncing automatically, so it doesn't matter in which order I start. But for now it still does. So we're waiting for this guy to be up. And then we're doing the PowerPC. Good stuff. Very, very good stuff. Now I hope everything is on. Now with the new cable. Here we have. Oh, look at this guy. Give me a second. What's going on here? Hardware monitor found an error. Enter power management setup for details. Interesting. Does it boot anyway? Maybe I fucked something up. Probably I pushed too many buttons when configuring this to boot, to start up automatically without having to press this little power button. Maybe. Anyways, we see this guy's up. So let us start the real time. Still manually. Maybe I get like an Einschaltverzögerung, like a startup delay. Maybe like a sequencer. To make this easier, and literally just have to press one button for it to first start up the console, then with a few seconds delay start up this rack, and then with like a minute or two of delay start up this PC. It's loading. It is loading. I see that. Will it load successfully? That is the big question. That is the question. Will I be getting a proper warm start? Here we go. That's it. And with that, we're online. I'm filming for almost 5 minutes, but I talked 1 or 2 minutes before, so that's about 3 to 4 minutes of startup for now. It's still doing some tests, but we can safely say under 5 minutes. And look at that. Yes, that is the first mix I did. Still online, all the fader positions. I was able to save it. It is being logged. So let me start up Ableton. Cool stuff. So cool. Everything's logged. Everything's online. My access fader working. My compressor and EQ curves from last time. Hell yeah. So cool. So cool. Ableton is on. Go to recent. Open up the LAWO mix. Here we are. Here we are. Okay, super interesting. Now, I was loading the mix, I was playing the mix, but I thought, doesn't quite sound as I remembered it. So I compared it to the mix that I recorded, and I figured that I would not have any overheads, rooms, and a hi-hat. Thing is, when I played it, I was still seeing signal everywhere here. But unmuting the overhead, I would get nothing. Bass drum you still hear, right? That's all fine, but no overhead. Check my interface, check everything, all good. I'm seeing signal here, and I'm not getting a notification of any DSP errors. But still, I swapped around the configuration. Also because I noticed all the channels that I'm not hearing, which is 27 to 31, are actually in the configuration I had, which is the 6 boards config 5, 6 boards or variation 5 here. They're all on board 4 cluster 3. These were all down. No signal from these. Even though I see signal, even though it processes, if I monitor the channel here, somehow it should be processed. It's not arriving at the mix bus. So what I did was swapping configurations around, and if I switch to configuration 3, there it is, the overhead. Online. As are the rooms and the hi-hats. Now, of course, we're going to have a look into this cluster 3. Have it go online. Now, the funniest thing of them all, boards, 6 boards, variation 3, is this one. Board 4, cluster 3, input 31 to 36. Now, my hi-hat is input 31. And with this configuration, my hi-hat was playing. So weird. Super weird. So, lots of fun troubleshooting ahead. Is it some error in the configuration? Did the PC or anybody load the configuration wrong? Is there a broken DSP cluster? We're going to check out. For now, I'm just happy. The mix loaded on the board. Digital, yes sir. We're back. Next steps, set up auxes, get a room or effects configuration going, try that stuff out. And yeah, then make a decision, right? Will this board be ending up in my studio? What do you think? How do you like it? Okay, we're back another night, and I did a successful warm start this time with all the DSPs working, everything sounding as it should. And I am wrapping my head around the surface. And yes, I mean, this thing here is actually the control surface. It's like a huge controller for a thing. There is a ton of ways to configure this board, and there's a few things that I've figured already, like I can have this access fader here in the middle, and whatever channel I choose, it'll show the level, right? So I can sit in the middle, choose, I mean, I could even choose it from the matrix here, have the names here, choose and adjust, right? So that is one thing. Then, yes, I have these panels here for dynamics, equalizer, and accents, all in here. Good stuff. What I figured yesterday, right before I kind of went to bed, is I have this AFL, which is after fader listening, and you can see right now, yes, now with mutes in place. Before, because I have my reverb returns, 0fx returns, before if I would use the solo in place, it would not do anything, but I activated it on the system page, SIP mode, input and monitors. So I have these input channels now solo in place. And if I am listening, and this is actually amazing and well done. For example, I listen to the bass, I play it, and now only the bass is playing, right? So my solo in places do not show the reverb of the snare, but just the effects of the bass. That's perfect execution. That's how I like it to be. And also I can have an adding. Yeah, and I have to take care of these buttons because a lot of them actually don't work super well. But I can have it add stuff. And then if I use the clear, and I have one clear here, all my solos are gone. Perfect. Now, this side, still hard to figure and a bit cryptic. And now I have presets for it. So I can have my limiter, or in this now I have my compressor, be here, and I see I have stuff there. But for example, room channel is here, controls for room are here, but here stuff is moved, and I think that's because of the second layer nature, because if I flip the layer, and then it's here, but then because the other layer is here, it's there. I think it's kind of their implementation of inline dust functionality. For me, still irritating, but because this, yeah, alternative layer, yeah, second layer, that's what I was talking about. Anyways, that's what I wanted to figure later. But here right now, my controls for the compressor, but I would memorize it. I think, yeah, threshold, gain, ratio, attack. Oh yeah, and that's on off. I mean, I could assign it, I could switch it temporarily. I have an aux section, but only still wrapping my head around them. But what is cool is I have this section which is temporary fader, and this is awesome because these knobs for accents, don't like him too much, even though in general, I mean, for the EQ and compressor is fine. You would have fine values, and then if you press it down, coarse for big adjustments. Still, if I'm doing a reverb, I need that fine control. So I have fader presets. Yes, I can press aux 1, and now I hear aux 3. Yes, sense on fader. But what's really cool is I have a clipboard here, so I can say, I can do normal things like put aux 2 into the clipboard just by touching, right here, touch, aux 3, I touch aux 2, aux 2. And if I do temporary fader, I have this value on fader. Now what I was asking myself, what if I take my high frequency gain, EQ4 gain, can I put that on a fader? No. Can I do something else? What can I do with a fader? Anything else? Compressor gain? No. I mean, cool that the aux are doable. Can I do direct out? I can. I can put my directs. Oh, that's cool. Put my direct outs on a fader. Can Can I do pan? No. No panorama on fader, but aux on fader. That's what I like. That's what I like a lot. And yeah, that's me. Wrapping my head around this board. Lots of cool stuff. Always tiny things to fix, like you can see here, some trim pots for the sense. You would see this guy flashing, probably. Is it still flashing? No, not anymore. Teeny tiny bits, but it's working. I get sound out of it. Still testing the sound. You would hear some bits. I did another mix that I would want to listen to in the studio. Exciting stuff. I want to do other mixes. I'm trying to get into the nature of this board. I mean, working with it as far as I am now is big fun. I can stand. I love to stand. I'm a tall guy. I love to operate it. I love to dance around. I love to have quick access to basic functions, volume, panorama, aux sense. That is very important. Heard the noise. And that's what it's doing exceptionally well. I love the haptics, I love the faders. The sound of it, I know that the interface units sound great and I want to do analog summing with this board as a test before. The sound of the EQ compressor summing the imaging, still want to test it. I kind of get the digital nature of things. There's not much for granted. If you have a lot of these processors working in your mix, it tends to be a little bit cold. But that doesn't have to be a bad thing because I love the precise nature of it. I love the punchiness of it. It's super, super fast. The expanders, gates, good stuff. And here we are, back. And you can see, job is already done. I took some time for myself to figure out stuff. And yes, the center section is completely reconfigured. Now I know on the internet you find at least one note where somebody is offering this console for sale and says, yeah, all the modules are plug and play, they're self-registered. No, they're not. If you swap them around, they will not work. You can see now everything is working after I reconfigured. I can choose my loudspeakers here. I can choose my sources for headphones and speaker. Have my automation here. I now have my panorama down here, an axis fader. The master fader is now a different kind of fader with an axis so that I can access my master from everywhere, not just from the matrix. Cool stuff. Most important file for this is the .bfr Bedienfeld register, so it's the register for all the modules in the control surface. And in there you have types, mode, number, and then comments for the space. But most importantly, I have bus and slots. So what I did was I scanned the register and wrote down every bus and slot that I could find, right? And then I would swap things around. Easy stuff. Always, of course, doing a cold start with the control system to have it show up in the system. And what can I say? Everything worked as expected. Now, my main goal for this was to be able to fit a laptop right here in the center. And that even above the keyboard. Here we are, one day later after my phone battery died. But still that setup, nice huge space for a laptop. And to make that work, I did take some modules out. So I now have one monitor controller for the control room monitors, and there was another monitor controller with a source selector for Einspieler. I never quite understood what that was. Maybe that was for the studio, and I know I still have a studio speaker thing here. I don't know if it meant that. I don't know if it was for an Einspieler. I thought for television or stuff to have external or things sent to program. I don't know, but that's gone now. Also, I had a preset column, and now I have here one row of soft keys where I have some extra functions so I can erase the solo in place and I can switch to Quellennamen. And I had a second preset thing which also had just double functionality here for stuff like I had a stereo button here for the channel, so I don't have to reach to here, but I'd rather have the free space, so took that out as well. Put some blank plates here. Sadly, behind this there's nothing, and originally there's 4, but some modules are only registered on the right side. So I could even take like a 4-space module and put that here. But I like my equalizer and dynamics here to the left, very convenient. I have the aux sense right on top, unit control to the left for input, unit processing that's a bit behind the screen. So that's more for like the extra functions. The controller sign, that's for performing on the board. So I can fold down the laptop a little bit for here. Yeah, I have my commando for talk back. There's a mic that goes in there for now, but I'm still getting ideas. Like I have this one fader, which is an axis fader, right? So I have all my control over the channels in the middle. I have, if I choose a channel, I now in the middle have the panorama or even surround, right? And the volume here. But as this desk, as a digital desk, has layer functionality, I could have a second channel on here, right, with the flick of a button. So originally I put this fader here as kind of like the master fader. So I have the sum, right? And then also here the axis, but I could put that on one. So this could go out as well, and I probably do. So all of this moves to the right, which means maybe more space here. I don't know. Is it for like a mouse or something? Probably not. Maybe I'll move something from the top down here, like the commando. It was originally here to the bottom, so I have more space here for laptops. We'll see, but the ability to reconfigure this now every time is what makes it for me. Very, very happy about that. That was easy. And yeah, I'll probably take a picture of it to know where what is. I mean, it wasn't hard to figure out, but still, this was very helpful here. So I'll do pictures and then cleaning this up. Okay, here we are. Playtime at the console. Remember my demo mix that I did, the first mix? Fun experience though, listening back to it in the studio, it had some flaws and it had me thinking. I did not like the hi-hat sound in there, frequency-wise, it was not balanced. Mixing on headphones, whatever it was, I liked the chorus, but then the verses, the hi-hats, pretty off. So I went on the board, I tackled some frequencies. My room settings had quite a lot of room, and I should have tackled the high frequencies there. Also, my overheads, the equalizer was not engaged. I did some taming there. Well, you know the fun, tweaking the compressor for 10 minutes while then checking it was a bypass. For me, it was the equalizer and bypass. So I did fix my mix in there. Still, I was getting anxious. Well, the console is fun. The dynamics are great. Frequency balance wise, I thought it was a little harsh. And that's what they say about digital consoles, right? That's what the analog console does for you. It softens things. So I was lucky to have built something in my workshop for a client. Let me show you what it is. Probably can't really see it right now. These are summing amplifiers from German broadcast Siemens type. I built a matrix onto these connectors, have it connected via XLR to interfaces of the system. Now, same old mix, but tweaked, so better. Now, what I have is I made 8 stereo groups that you can see here. Groups basically 1 to 16 as mono, right? But linked. Yes, always in pairs. So here as well, that's why you only see group 1, 3, 5, etc. These are 8 stereo groups matching the inputs of the summing amplifier, right? So I have all my drums here, now sending to some 1 and 2, but also group 1 and 2 for, yes, the drums. My bass, 3 and 4, guitars, 5 and 6, synths, 7 and 8, and then reverb returns, 9 and 10. The rest are unused, probably in a mix for vocals. However, you would want to split these, right? So next step is I take one channel as the return. So this channel has the line input where it gets the analog mix back, and that one sends to main sum 3 and 4. So on my headphones I can compare now sum 1 and 2, sum 3 and 4 between these 2 mixes. Now I spent some time in the system window of the console. Let me show you. Where you have the reference level and headroom that you can calibrate here to determine how hard it's going out in the analog world. And I found these to be sounding the best. Everything above that reference level headroom wise tends to distort. So these sound good for now. And yeah, I can now play you both mixes and switch between them so you can hear the difference and hear how this console sounds paired with an analog sum. That would be my dream setup in my own studio, that I have the full digital control, but I will use an analog sum. I will use analog processing on groups, on individual tracks that I record in the DAW, and then also on the sum, of course, my bus compressor. Basically, I do have a mixing setup in my studio that I want to keep, right? So that my older mixes are still translatable and recallable, but also I can do new mixes with this board kind of just in between my DAW and my analog world, which is summing, right? And then processing on a bus, parallel drum compression, and then also having a compressor and 2 equalizers on the sum, right? So yes, let's dive into it. I'll play you the mix and I'll switch between them. Viel Spaß! Yeah, and that's it. Now you, the world, can hear how this console sounds in the mix. I'm very curious about what you think of it. I'm trying to be as honest as possible to myself. I love the flexibility sound-wise. Really curious, what do you think about the system? Let me know it in the comments. Also, if you like the last couple minutes with me, feel free to give me that all buttons on like and subscribe. Also, if you want to come hang out, I stream music production every Monday on Twitch. Happy to see you there. Until next time, have a good one.